How you guys doing? It's been a long time since I've done a video. Haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to test any recent phones, but in my ultimate wisdom, I decided to venture into the netherworld of the dark Android side. Now, what I mean by that is, obviously there's a lot of companies that make phones. Some are on what is called the entity list, and I'm speaking of Huawei. They make a lot of good phones, and they made a lot of good phones in the past, and they still do. But being on the entity list means they are not going to have Google Play services or GMS. So a lot of times when you import these phones, which they're not available in the United States due to supposed spying, you don't get Google Play services. Okay, so that's the first part. So let's talk about this phone. Right here it is. I will talk about the build quality. It's pretty good. Now this is the P40 Pro, not the Pro Plus, which is like $1,500, ridiculous. Even if it had Google Play services, that's a lot of money. Now, without getting into too many specs, it's got a 50 megapixel main sensor. It's got a wide angle telephoto zoom. It's got the periscope zoom here. You probably can't see that very well. It's right here actually. In-screen fingerprint scanner right here. It's got a double hole punch camera at the top. You see a little blinking light. That's actually like infrared face scanning. Basically works for unlocking the phone, and it just did. Build quality is fantastic. This phone, it's got like a matte back. It's the silver version. It's heavy. I like a heavy phone. The screen is superb. It's I want to say like a little slightly higher than 1080p, but it's 90 hertz. It does work in the United States. I have it on AT&T. I haven't tried T-Mobile. It does say 5G on the screen. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. This is a European model, so it has most of the bands that I needed for it to work here. It's got USB Type-C, SIM card tray with their Nano micro SD expansion, which I have yet to find anywhere that sells those. Infrared on the top, remote for remote control, which is something we rarely see, and I'm not a huge fan of, but I have some family members that live and die by this feature, which is becoming a relic in this time of day and stuff like that. So one down-firing speaker. I don't know if you can see this. The top, there is no speaker. It uses the screen to project sound and phone calls, but does not use it for music. So that's the biggest downside to the overall appearance of this phone, knowing it has one speaker, and that also affects, obviously, the audio performance. Now, the skin. What can I say about the skin? It is Huawei's EMUI running on Android 10 with what they call, let me see if I can pull it up here, Huawei's app gallery. It's getting better. It has a lot of apps, but it misses a heck of a lot more. Now, I'm going to go out and tell you, if you can see here, you can see some Google Play stuff here. I've even got the Play Store working. Now, I sideloaded that. There's a process. There's many YouTube videos how to do that. It takes about anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes. You have to follow. You got a USB adapter with a USB stick. You got to install, uninstall, force stop, uninstall. It works. So I've got most of my Google Play apps working on this phone. Two big issues. Since this is not a GMS phone or Google services phone, I get very little to no push notifications, which means a lot of apps that we use in Google or in Android use Google's push notification services. Since this is not certified, you don't get those. So Gmail, I do get some Instagram, I get some Twitter. I installed Blue Mail app instead of Gmail because Gmail just didn't give me a notification, and Blue Mail was in the Huawei app gallery and it works. Google Duo does not work at all. For some reason you can install it, but when you open it, it says connect. So I'm guessing that's an issue with Google being on Huawei being on the entity list. I had some weird issues with a small app. There's a website called Meh. It's like a sales website. You can buy things, daily deals, and they have an app. For some reason, it wouldn't work on here. But I got Google Maps on here. I've got Chrome. Everything seems to work minus notifications, which is a very big deal. I have a lot of smart home products at home. I use Wise for cameras. I use Blink. I use Eufy or EUFY, however you say that. And only one of those gives me notifications once in a while, and that's the doorbell by EUFY, and I get them kind of sporadically. There are some workarounds. Haven't really messed with it because, like I said, once you get it installed, it's a process to go back and start over again. So, things I like. I love the build quality. I love the screen. I don't mind this dual punch or hole punch, whatever you want to call it. It's fast. It's quick. It does everything I need it to do. It's got good service. It's got NFC, wireless charging. But on the downside, it doesn't come with Google. That's a big killer. For me, being a tech guy, I've got multiple phones, so this is not going to be an issue for me because I can just take the SIM out and put it in something else. It's got the Kirin 990 chipset, which is supposed to be equivalent to the 865-ish. I will tell you, and I know it's going to make me look like a little kid, but my kids play Roblox, and on every 865 phone I play it on, it's flawless, it's smooth. My daughter's got a Tab S6 with an 855 chipset from Snapdragon, and it's flawless and smooth. This one, it's kind of jittery and stutters a lot here and there. I also have an Xperia 1 Alpha 2 or Beta 2 Mark 2, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if I have it with me here. This right here. And this one does the same thing. It's got a Snapdragon 865, and it kind of stutters and lags in certain games too. And I don't know if that's because of the 4K resolution on the screen. So, for me, this is an experiment. I love Huawei phones. This camera, I've used a lot of phones. By far my favorite camera in any phone. I've used the Mi 10, I've used the Google Pixels from Pixel 1 to the 4, everything, and I'll be honest with you, nothing comes close to this one. Now the Pro Plus has a couple extra features I'm not going to spend another $700 for, but would I buy it? For me, yes, I would buy it because I know how to do the workarounds. I'm okay with it. But should you? Average consumer, definitely not. And there's always that hope and wish when I buy these phones that, you know, we'll work things out with China. This will come off the entity list. Google Play services will be 100% supported. But there's been some talk that Huawei has come out, because now they're under fire from the UK, that even if Google is allowed to work with them again, they're kind of saying, hey, we're done. I don't know if that's true. So again, this runs about, I want to say it's like roughly 8, like the S20, not the Ultra, but the S20 Pro 5G, like $899-ish. Obviously you can get it cheaper or more expensive since it has to be imported. But like I said, if you know how to, if you have the patience to install Google Play services through the many methods that are on XDA developers, on YouTube, then by all means, it's worth a shot just for the camera alone. But if you're an average consumer and just want things to work, stick with your Samsungs, your Sonys, your LGs. You know, I've got a V60 that works flawlessly. I've got the Sony Xperia. But this phone, I take when I take pictures. This camera, this is where it's at. So, subscribe to my channel, like the video, share with your friends. I know it's kind of unprofessional, kind of off the cuff. I've just been using it for a while. I'm going to give my thoughts. I probably won't do much of a review just because we can't buy it here. But I want to let you guys know that it's a fantastic camera phone. And overall, it's a beautiful phone. It's just hampered by the fact that Google Services is not on there by default and not allowed to be on there. And the only way you can do it is by side loading. And even at that point, a lot of things won't work properly. Again, thanks for watching.